our space exists because people have lost faith in institutions. This whole space exists because people don't trust the media anymore. Now, you pride yourself on being willing to always ask questions, to question established narratives, and so do we. But with no authority that anyone trusts, it seems like it's opened up the floodgates for, particularly after COVID, for people to be very susceptible to going along with anything that anyone says that challenges any narrative. They don't really, I know in your case, you say you like to do the research, you like to go down the rabbit hole. Most of these people don't really do that. They don't have time to do that, but they are so hostile to institutional narratives, to accepted narratives, they'll go along with anything. And that opens up a lot of room for people with agendas to just promote ideas by saying, hey, everything you were ever told about the jab was wrong, right? So this, and this is wrong. So follow me.
Yeah.
Now, how do you think we walk that line and find a balance?
I think that the power players are so smart. We've got to somehow outsmart them. I saw this one coming a mile away. And I remember when I was invited to be on Glenn Beck's show, and he flew me out to Dallas. And while I was out there, I was asked to be on a variety of other shows that the Blaze has and they're in their facilities. And I was sitting on one woman's show. I forgot her name, but we ended up getting into a big beef online. She was a real jerk. And we were there, and she talked nonstop. This was a couple of years ago. So 2 years ago, she talked nonstop about, the kids and their sexualized, the stuff that we should absolutely care about, right? The sexualizing and or what they're teaching kids in schools or whatever. And she was going on and on and on about it. And I just basically said to her at the end, which really upset her, that this is not going to be a winning point towards she was advocating for all of the politicians to just adopt this talking and talk about this. And this would be the way to win elections. And I was like, it isn't. This won't win any elections. Ron DeSantis, and case in point, Ron DeSantis.
Just going to say.
Yeah. It totally collapsed. He went down that road, the culture war road, and it collapsed his political career potentially entirely by taking that advice. But my argument was at the time, 2 years ago, if you guys adopt these types of talking points, then this is the distraction that the elites, that the establishment is going to feed you. They're going to feed you this as a distraction to get you all riled up, because who doesn't care about children? Right. Obviously, we all do. Everybody, believe it or not, even the real woke Dems really do care about kids. So that's how they're going to get you. They're going, just like what they did with the Democrats. Remember what it started with was racism, right? It was racism, right. Racism. Everybody's a racist. So who doesn't care about racism? Like, everybody doesn't want racists in our society. I told them, this is how they're going to get you. They're going to get you guys on the right. And I even had a conversation with James Lindsay about it online, where I'm like, look, you're leading people astray with this. This is not the path. I'm telling you now, you guys go down this road and you'll be co-opted before you know it. And the next thing you know, all of the things that people are attracted to the right for right now, it won't be the situation, because these guys are so smart. The establishment, the elites, they spend literal millions of dollars on psychology and figuring out the buttons to push in order to herd people towards where they want people to be. So they think, oh, you don't like surveillance? Oh, you don't like surveillance. Okay, so I see there's this big push against surveillance. So here I am. I'm like the big, multi-mega $1 million psychological, person that's trying to figure this out. Okay, well, how are we going to lead you down a path where you're going to accept surveillance? How about we start with, probably the kids. Okay, so we will push this narrative on you about the kids and what the kids are being fed in schools, or with the mind stuff and what the kids are being taught and all this stuff, right? Eventually, you're going to say, well, I have to allow surveillance in order to protect my child. You don't get there from point A to B, but you do get there from point A to, J, right? Like it just takes a few steps. But these guys are masterminds. They literally, that's their careers. They spend millions of dollars figuring that out. And they just know this is the messaging that leads to where we want people to go. And we want to get them all on board with CBDCs, or we want to get them all on board with surveillance, mass surveillance. We want to get them all on board with, giving up their freedoms, Patriot Act, like all these different things. They just figure out the buttons on each side that works each side's meant, everybody's the same as we're learning. Our brains are the same because we're all the same. We're just people. We just care about different things between left and right. So they literally could just use the same playbook on both sides. They just have to slightly alter the language in order to get everybody right where they want them. So here we are, and these guys have gobbled it up. And now we've got, they're believing in their mind, like, who was it I just tweeted out? Who's the billionaire that's wanting to, that backed, he backed Tim Scott, I think. Not the Palantir Peter Thiel, but the other guy that's Ellison. Is it? I don't know who it was. That was the big billionaire, but he's got like some tech that he's wanting to. Let me just check my Twitter profile real quick. And I tweeted out, yeah, this guy is a big Republican backer, by the way, Larry Ellison. So Larry Ellison is pushing an AI-fueled surveillance system to monitor citizens. Billionaire Oracle founder Larry Ellison claims AI will enable a vast surveillance system, ensuring citizens will be on their best behavior. As he's speaking to investors, he described AI's role in monitoring security cameras, police body cams, and more, suggesting AI drones could replace police cars and chases. He is a major Republican donor. So they've got, all they have to do is just tell the Republican base what they want to hear to get them to agree to this style of AI-fueled surveillance. The easy thing is to say, we're going to protect kids. This is how we're going to protect your kids.
Right. You look at a lot of this movement, and I'm really starting to delve into this. It's absurd for people to think that Silicon Valley billionaires have their best interests at heart. They really manipulate a lot of this culture war stuff. But there's a lot of reporting on their core philosophy being one of creating a kind of techno-feudalism, where you have corporations that are fiefs and the people are the serfs, right?
Yeah.
You will own nothing and be happy. Like that seems to be the uniting vision of our elites and our upper classes, and you just have two different sides pitching it to two different audiences, but in the end going to the same essential loss of freedom. But how do we in this space avoid, because we're challenging established narratives, but it seems like a lot of the online audience, it ends up making them unskeptical in a different direction. They're still not skeptical, but now they're skeptical of institutions and unskeptical of anyone who challenges institutional information. Everything that you've ever been taught must be wrong. Gravity, Newton was in the Illuminati. Anything you've ever heard, it must be wrong. This guy says it's wrong. It must be because they taught it to me in school.
Well, what's crazy is when I posted this and said Larry Ellison is a Republican mega donor, so many people in the comments did exactly what you're describing, where they're like, "No, you're just full derangement. You got TDS now. You have TDS." I'm like, there's a guy who Trump owes a favor to, I was on Russell Brand's show yesterday with Mike Benz and Max Blumenthal. Mike Benz said the thing that I think everybody just needs to drill into their heads: you don't really elect the politician, you elect who they owe favors to. So who does Trump owe favors to? Well, Larry Ellison, who gives billions of dollars to, and it's not just who the person, the Republican candidate owes or Democratic candidate owes favors to, it's the entire political party that owes favors. Because here's the thing, Trump is only protected, if he wins, he's only protected as president so as long as Republican Congress has his back. What did Congress just show? Congress just showed that they have so much power, they can remove a president, right? They do have that power to remove a president, but they literally just staged a coup against Biden. And what it finally took was Nancy Pelosi and Schumer coming along and saying, that's it, we're done with you. And you could either do this the nice way or you could do this the hard way. The hard way is going to be embarrassing for you. So do it the nice way, right? And we'll paint you a nice legacy and, you know, kind of make this warm and cozy for you and give you a nice send off. They have the power to do that. So Trump is, if he wins, let's say, he's going to be playing, he's going to be fending off every single, he's going to be tied up for one. He's going to be totally tied up because they're going to keep him tied up. So they're going to throw everything that they can at him to keep him tied up from not being able to enact any of his agenda. The Republicans in Congress, who are all completely bought off, are going to basically go to him and say, if you want our protection from impeachment, you want our protection from these cases, these criminal, you know, from more lawfare, you want our protection, then you need to do it our way, or we'll take you out to pasture, just like what we did with Biden. So there's that. We have to attack it from a whole, you know, it's the whole. It can't just be one guy's going to save us.
Right.
What I'm finding online is that people seem to forget how our government works, and they think that the president has all the power, when actually there are three equal branches of government. Like even when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine war, okay, I think it's important for those two countries to come to a peace agreement. I understand people think it may lead to World War III, and maybe it would, but there's a lot of other wars that would lead to World War III, like Taiwan or Iran, right? There's others out there, but just focusing on that one. So let's say Trump says, okay, I'm going to get in office and I'm going to halt arms sales to Ukraine. I'm going to force these two to the table. Congress could just say, screw you. We're an equal branch of government. We can actually override your decision to not give them weapons. All they have to have is a 2/3 majority.
Right.
Do we think that there are 2/3? Yes, there's absolutely a 2/3 majority in Congress that wants to continue giving weapons to Ukraine, right? On both sides of the aisle. They're in cahoots on that in Congress. So all they have to do is override him. Now, people might not realize that because it's actually never been done. Usually the president just gives as many weapons as the military industrial complex wants, and Congress is happy and everybody's happy. But when Biden withheld weapons to Israel, that was one of the strategies that Congress had, is that they basically went to Biden and said, again, we could do this the nice way or we could do this the hard way. Do you want us to embarrass you? We'll embarrass you. You know, we will override your decision and we will make sure that Israel gets what it wants. So Congress has a lot of power and they'll wield it. So nothing is going to change unless we highlight and stress over and over, which many of us have been from the beginning, when I was at least more identifying on the left as a staunch progressive, a Bernie Sanders progressive, was get the money out of politics. It always comes down to the money. We have to get the money out of politics. And until we can get the money out, not just from one guy, but the whole system, we're going to have this problem where you're going to get this savior guy that comes along and everybody thinks this is going to be our savior because he's going to do this, this, and this, and this. And it's totally and completely unrealistic, because the blockade he's going to face with Congress is not just with Democrats, but it'll be with those staunch rhinos, you know, as well. It'll be Republicans. It'll be the Mitch McConnells, his type, Nikki Haley types, right? The Lindsey Graham will be really the one leading the charge against him. And until people can wake up to that, you know, just like Mike Benz said, it's just, who do they owe favors to? And Trump owes a lot of favors, and he's going to keep owing favors because they're going to say, look, if you want our protection, you want us to pay for your lawsuits, like Miriam Adelson, right? You want me to pay for all of your lawfare that you're up against? Well, you know, this is my favor. We want Israel. You know, we want all the land. We want all of Palestine. So that's what you're going to have to give us. You know, so he owes a lot of people, and he's going to continue owing a lot of people.
Please clap.